So you're a woman who can often hold things together. You're usually the strong one. You're usually the one that meets all the deadlines. You get shit done. And you're really good at getting things done, managing your time, staying strong, especially for others. But when it comes to softening, you often find your body maybe tensing. Maybe your chest closes, or you find yourself even breathing only in your chest. Breathing down into your belly just feels foreign. Your breath feels shortened and your pleasure feels distant, maybe numbed, and maybe even unreachable. Maybe you're also a woman who can really look sensual and sexy and seductive and even confident on the outside. But the moment that you try and actually feel sensual for yourself, not for anyone else, but for you tend to slip into performance. It's like you disconnect from yourself or you feel awkward about actually being sensual and being soft, being actually fully in your body. It all feels very external, not internal. When I say pleasure or sensuality, it's like something that you need to do, something that you need to learn, and not something that actually naturally rises from within you. So if that feels like you're not alone. You've just simply been living inside the myths of sensuality. In my last video, if you've watched that, we explored what sensuality is. If you haven't seen it already, I will drop the link below. And we explored how sensuality is not about performing, it's not about being seen, it's not about this thing that you need to do. Instead, it's about fully being in your body, fully feeling yourself, feeling that quiet hum of aliveness inside of you, inside of your body. I actually got a lot of messages from women saying when they watched that video, Jessica, I really resonate with this video. It's like I finally feel seen, or I finally really understand that sensuality isn't something that I have to do. It's something that I already am. And as a woman who is always in this space of high achievement, who's always in the doing, in leadership mode, I really just want to feel sensual without it being out of reach, without it feeling performative, and in a way that doesn't feel overcomplicated. The thing is, when we start to understand sensuality on a deeper level, there are still so many myths around sensuality or misconceptions about what sensuality should look like. And that can often keep us disconnected from our pleasure, from our power, from our essence, and from our natural radiance, this beauty that emits from your body. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the biggest sensuality myths that are holding you back and that actually might be blocking you from opening yourself up to feeling this beautiful pulse of aliveness within you that is what makes you happen, and it is how you draw in more love and beauty and just vibrancy into your life. So as we dive into these sensuality myths, really notice which one speaks to you the most, and don't ignore that desire to explore that deeper. So let's get into it. I'm going to break down the 5 sensuality myths that I believe are really important for us to dive into, and myths that I often see over and over again, especially around me with women that I work with when they first step into my work. And then I'll show you what the truth really is and how you can embody it. So let's dive into the first myth. Myth number 1, sensuality is all about sex. I think that's probably the biggest one, right? And the most common that we hold, that sensuality is just about sex. I don't blame us for actually believing this. It's everywhere. It's the programming that we've all received since we were very young, and probably why we are so disconnected from our sensuality, or why we even think that it's not even really our innate nature, our innate way of being in our body and in life. We've been sold that this idea that to be sensual, we have to perform, especially in the bedroom. And we always have to be sexually available. We always have to be thinking about sex. And if not, then somehow you're failing, somehow you're not sexual enough. But you already know that you are sexual. And you also probably feel this deep knowing, this truth, even if it is hidden, right? There is this I just know. And that's why you're here, that you are sensual. But then, life happens. You're probably running a business, you're running a household, just things happen in our lives. And then part of you that actually has this spark, this passion, this sensual aliveness within you, well, it kind of gets hidden in the background underneath your rush through life. Always rushing, always moving forward, always thinking ahead. Maybe the exhaustion as well, maybe the numbness. And so the important piece here is to get curious with sensuality. Start creating space in your life to play with sensuality by exploring your body, or going on this journey of exploring your body, and not just waiting for that sexual experience, not just waiting for the bedroom. And I feel like if we can really invite sensuality back into our lives in this way, with no pressure to orgasm, with no attachment to sex, then we start to recreate and redefine sensuality for ourselves in a way that actually ignites our truest erotic innocence, who we are. So your sensuality, it is just the way your body feels when you're grounded in your own aliveness and not performing for anyone else. And then we can go even deeper, which is what I really do inside of my work, is really build that safety within you to really play with sensuality in different ways. And I feel like that is the foundational piece. If you're not feeling safe in your body, if you're not feeling safe to even open to this idea of sensuality, which is so normal for us women to feel like that because it hasn't been part of our dialogue, our lives, then yeah, it feels a little bit, well, sensuality might feel a little bit distant, but it doesn't have to be that way. When we build safety in the body, and we play then with sensuality in different ways, that can look like movement. We can touch ourselves, touch our body, offer ourselves deep pleasure without trying to reach for something like an orgasm. And then you start to realize, okay, naturally, this will enhance my sex. Not because I'm trying to be sensual and trying to be more sexual, but it's just because I'm more present, I'm more embodied. So then your sex just becomes this sensory experience, not just a mechanical act. You allow yourself to really move with it. So as you can see, your sensuality, yes, it is tied with sex, but it's a layer that we need to really enhance and really get playful with, which will then, of course, ripple into your sex life. But it's never about this idea of pleasing or performing, acting sexy. It's just about feeling your own pleasure first and allowing yourself the permission piece to really go there without shame or judgment. Meeting with your wild woman, the untamed version of you that is also safe. Okay, she's not in any danger to be there. So, let me know how that really feels in your body, receiving that. When I first started exploring my sensuality more deeply through touch, pleasure practices, moving my hips, slow, mindful presence in my body, I realized I could actually awaken to this wild fire within me. It was like a charge that I had inside of me between my hips and my thighs. And so, yeah, my sensuality became this beautiful opening to experience sex where I was allowing myself to also surrender deeply. I felt safe to surrender and let go and enjoy myself and allow myself to actually receive the pleasure that was there inside of me, to receive my man in that way, and wanting, rather than trying to get to the finish line. I also remember my client telling me, when she finished one of our sessions, she said, "For the first time, Jessica, in years, I feel really hopeful and curious about my sexuality because we've just been expanding and playing, getting curious with sensuality in such a loving and deeply enriched way." And she was just feeling this new passion or excitement to then dance sensually for herself, naked in the mirror, and then also for her partner. And she wasn't holding on to that shame around just moving in that way, or feeling like it was sinful, or feeling like she was going to be judged for being that way. So when women really reclaim their sensuality, their sex lives do often shift. And it goes from mechanical, or even shameful or disconnected, to something, this experience that becomes playful and embodied and rich and just more present. And they open more to desire, and they allow the desire to really move through them without blocking it out of fear. So that was the first myth, and it was a little bit longer than the next ones that we're going to explore, because I feel like that is the biggest myth, that sensuality equals sex. So I really wanted to deepen that exploration there. So let me know if that really touched you in any way, or if it shifted your mindset around sensuality. So let's explore the second myth, that sensuality is really only for certain body types or ages. I think that's another big one, that sensuality is only for young women, or it's only for thin, conventionally attractive women. I mean, of course we feel like that because that's often what we see around us. It's everywhere. Instagram, media, our culture really emphasizes this, and it tells us that we have to look a certain way to be allowed to embody our sensuality. It's so false. It's an absolute lie. A woman can be soft, curvy, older, single, a mother, a CEO of her business. It doesn't matter. It is your birthright. It is who you are. And your sensuality lives in your energy, your presence, your felt sense experience. How you relate to your sexuality, how you relate to your body, how you relate to your vagina, how you relate to the world, to Mother Earth, to your partner, how you relate to love. So it's got nothing to do with the shape of your body. Think about some of the women that you've seen and maybe really carry something different in their presence. You feel that she really embodies this sensuality. It's not because of her age. There's just a spark in her eyes. She's radiating. She holds her body with so much, there's like posture. She's not afraid to walk and really own her walk and move her hips, swaying her hips. She really adorns her body like it's a beautiful temple, her altar. She has a softness as well. She's fully dropped in. She's not chasing attention or trying to prove anything either. She's just radiating from within. She's like these roses right behind me. She's not trying to adjust herself so then she can be validated. Her energy shifts from neediness to just pure, effortless magnetism, attraction, beauty, natural beauty. She's confident, yes, but it's like this beautiful, subtle confidence. You can't ignore it. She's not trying, she's just being. And so that's your invitation throughout your day. Notice how you are being, how your body is being or feeling. And notice, what happens when you're stretching your body or when you're doing your yoga. I know a lot of you love yoga here. Just that feeling, that curve of your spine as you stretch. Notice how you're walking. Notice your posture. Notice your breath. Just these small, intimate sensations, they're just portals into your sensuality. Slow down and connect. Slow down to smell the roses. There's truth in that. I actually had a client who was around 60, and I remember she came to me feeling quite small in her energy or uncertain, disconnected, hesitant. She had this desire to be in a beautiful, loving relationship with a beautiful man. And so she came to me. Actually, what I find that most women come to me with a desire to be more sensual. It's usually, and I love that. That is so exciting to me that there is this new pull in us women awakening through us. And I just remember with my client, there was this new, like she had been ignited in her body just from a few sessions together with her sensual energy. Something shifted, and she was saying, like, I really understand. I can feel it in my body. I am sensual. I'm so delicious. This is who I am. No one can take this away from me. And here I was waiting for permission to feel like that, or I had to lose, I had to be younger or thinner. So just the way that she moved, the way that she started to enter a room, her excitement to actually get dressed up as well for our sessions. There was even this certainty of who she was calling into her life, and everything changed for her. She could finally feel and know this certainty that sensuality is who I am. It's not something that I have to do or chase. It's who I am. And I love being in this space. From here, I feel like I'm actually connecting with, water and swimming in the ocean with so much more pleasure. And she was just, it's like the little girl inside of her was just screaming with joy and laughter and play. And it was just moving through her cells. I was astounded with this beauty that she was carrying. And that is exactly what happens. You just start to feel like this sacred, sexy woman again on your own terms. You come home to you. You come home to your body. Let me know if that moved you and how you feel receiving that. Has that been a myth for you as well? That sensuality is only for a certain type of women. So let's dive into myth number 3, and that is sensuality is all about seduction and attention. Now, we've kind of touched on these. As you know, the feminine moves in spirals and she doesn't work in a linear way. So if you feel like some of these overlap, they probably do. And so I feel like this is another big one, that being sensual is about seduction or performative kind of seduction or being desirable and attracting attention. And so I think if we have this idea that that's what it's about, then we should be hiding our sensuality because we don't want to be attracting the wrong kind of attention, especially if we're in a relationship. It's not true, especially if you're fully inhabiting your sensuality in a really pure, loving way, intentional way. We've been taught that if we want to be feminine or sexy, that we need to actually perform that. And we see this all the time. You just type in sensuality, and the first thing that you'll see is a woman with pouty lips, red lipstick, arching her back. She's like mooning in a certain way. And nothing wrong with any of these. But, the thing is, if we don't feel like we're doing that, then maybe we feel like we're not sensual, or we're less than, or we feel invisible, or we won't get the attention from men. But here's the truth. Sensuality, as I've said, is for you. It's yours. It's not for anyone else. It's about being in your body, being present with your feelings, your sensations, your energy, knowing how to harness all of that. Not being scattered, not playing a game, not being manipulative. It's about being safe to go to these spaces that allow you to actually be wildly expressed in your body. So yeah, it's about the body. And when you live from this place, from that natural sensual place, then attention comes naturally. But it's never the goal as well. You're not trying to be sensual to get his attention or to become more seductive. It's like you just naturally receive attention because you just love being here. You love being in your body. You love interacting with your pleasure. And this is also as well where your nervous system benefits, because sensuality is deeply restoring. It restores the numbness and it really melts away tension. It allows you to safely soften into the body, engaging with your body through presence, touch, and breath. When you do, what happens is you start to activate pleasure, and that's what soothes the vagus nerve, which shifts you from being in this state of fight, flight, into rest, into digesting emotions, digesting food, digesting fear, being more receptive and open, because the only way to be sensual is if you are slowing down. It's the only way. Tasting and feeling your body, awakening to your senses, and actually building the safety to go there, to slow down, because we are so hard wired to go fast, to rush, to perform, to reach an end goal, and then judge ourselves if we're not. To be better all the time instead of actually just feeling alive, here and now, in the body, feeling pleasure here for yourself, giving yourself permission. And sometimes when you come into pleasure practices that are not sexualized, you awaken desire. You realize, this is what I want. This is what I need. And I know how to now give that to myself. I know how to offer that to myself because I've now opened this new field within me that allows me to be electric and alive and connected and activated and sensual and sexual. I'm not afraid. You start to realize, actually, I was just craving myself, craving attention from myself all along. I wasn't craving attention from outside of me. And so with that, you just start to let go of this idea that sensuality is there as a performance. And you start to just come into this place of home, giving yourself permission to actually feel good for you. So let's dive into myth 4, and that is sensuality requires this whole grand, complicated practice. So not true. Many women think that sensuality requires like a tropical vacation, expensive lingerie, elaborate rituals, or these perfect movements that we might see on Instagram in feminine energy course. Nothing wrong with any of these at all. Nothing wrong with wanting to wear beautiful lingerie and doing rituals. I'm for all of this. If you know me and my work, you know I love sensual movement. I'm all for this. They excite me. They do bring you closer to the goddess within you. They're just like little stepping stones to her, to connect with her. But the most important thing here is if you want long-term sustainable sensuality and not just this fleeting moment, you just have to learn how to inhabit sensuality in the small everyday moments. Let it be how you are just moving through the world. So it just becomes your nature, how you love, how you speak, how you see the world. It's like your eyes are fully open again, like the little girl inside of you. And I feel like a lot of women, what I've noticed is that they have this desire to be more connected to their sensuality, but then the resistance starts to show up. One, because it is a big part of who we are. And it means that, your goddess self is like, yes, let's do this. And the other thing is because I feel like we think that it needs to be this overcomplicated experience. Or even if you start to step into your sensuality, then it's going to take away your edge, that drive inside of you. No, it's just who you are. It's always accessible to you. You don't need a partner or a perfect setting. You just need you. You need presence, and you might need a beautiful space to hold you to get into that practice. That's all it is, really, is practice. Feeling sensual, getting into these beautiful, loving spaces of pleasure that opens the doorway to love for yourself and your sexuality as well. And so what happens inevitably is that your sensuality will invite you then to want to take care of yourself more, want to take care of your body more, and you will want to take care of your environment, the things around you, how you dress. It will just come to you naturally rather than you trying to look for these different tips and steps. It just becomes part of your lifestyle. And then so each moment, whether it's having a shower, brushing your hair, drinking coffee, it starts to become this beautiful ritual to connect with yourself. You start to enjoy that. You start to bring pleasure into it. You start to feel alive. It's just incredible how these small, tender practices, they will create ripple effects. Believe me. And now we're coming to the last myth, myth 5, that sensuality can be taught or learned from others. Another big one. Sensuality, we feel like, oh, okay, it's something that I can just copy from someone else. We see this all the time. Instagram models, sex gurus, the sensual tips, the sensual dances, the media portrayals of sensuality. And then no wonder that women think that they have to emulate it to be allowed to be sensual. It's like, okay, if I copy that mold, then I will be sensual, right? But as you know now, your sensuality is innate. It's your energy, your body, your unique blueprint. You can't copy it. You can only uncover it. You can only remember it. Yes, you can watch videos about it, like this one. Take the courses, follow the practices out there. You know, I have sensual practices. Nothing wrong with them because they will, as I said, they will ignite and awaken you. But the real remembrance happens through your own practice of it. Devotion. That's why coming into my space, it's a journey, an initiation. We do it over 3 months or even deeper, 6 months, which is where the real magic happens because you're actually starting to allow that sensuality become part of your blueprint, your embodiment. That's where the magic unfolds when you start to explore this for yourself with practice, not just a one-time thing. And you start to then feel safe enough to make it part of who you are. It's where your truth lives. It's where your energy, your aliveness, your erotica, your sexual energy really awakens. It's the life force of you. And so, yes, I will guide women back to this place. This is what I do, back to the intimate relationship with their body, where sensuality stops being something you learn and it's becomes something that you remember, something you live, something that you love as well about you. And it's possible for every single one of you watching this. I know it. You just have to believe it. Listen to that nudge inside of you. And it will never look the same for any of us. So you can definitely be inspired by other women who are sensual and use that as your inspiration to help you mirror back in that, oh, that's also possible for me. And you can, of course, sign up for my, free program, Erotic Feminine Embodiment. You can start this journey with simple practices. It's a free journey with simple, powerful practices to help you come home to your body and start remembering your natural sensuality. But then, if you want to dive even deeper to make this your new reality, that's where my group program comes into it, my private mentorship, where we go even further, where sensuality stops being something you practice and it just becomes the language that your body speaks. So then your desires become ignited, you do have better sex, you trust yourself more, you open your body to receive, feel passionate in your love life again. It just ripples into the things that you love. It's the space where you no longer just remember who you are, you become her. You become that sensual, radiant queen that we all are. The invitation, always make pleasure a priority and bring it into your life. Start exploring your senses and your sensations, your internal world. Allow your senses to become part of your lived experience. So which 5 myths really spoke to you today? Was it the first myth that sensuality is all about sex? Was it the second myth that sensuality is only for certain body types or for a certain age? Is it the third myth that sensuality is all about seduction and attention, performance? Was it the fourth myth that sensuality is needs to be this overcomplicated practice that you need to do? Or was it the fifth myth that sensuality can only be taught or learned from others, or that you have to mimic sensuality? Which one really spoke to you today? Let us know in the comments. And of course, if you loved this video, give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already. This always helps me to spread this beautiful message out to all women. I feel like we could all really use this kind of uplifting, erotic transmission in our lives. And if you take anything at all away today, is that your sensuality isn't about performance. It's not a look. It's not a checklist that you need to tick off. It's just you, your energy, your body, your power, and it's yours to reclaim right now. Fully step into, because it's your medicine and the nourishment to your heart and your body and the goddess within. So you start radiating like the queen you were always meant to be. And remember, when you do, your life, your work, your projects, your art, your sex life, your relationships just become, it all transforms. They become ignited and infused with passion. And your sensuality is waiting for you, my love. The choice is yours. You just have to say yes to it. And I'm here to guide and fully support you in that. All right, my love, thank you so much for being here. And I will see you again in the next episode. Make sure to go and check out all of my other sensuality videos. The last one, we really explored that as well. Otherwise, I'll see you again soon. Bye, beautiful. Remember that you are the most sensual queen. Love you.